like, listen, this is the same conversation I had with my agent. I lost my agent too for that.
So when it comes to comedians having a vendetta against each other, one of the most popular and talked about incidents is the one between Joe Rogan and Carlos Mencia. What's particularly interesting about this case is that the entire situation didn't just affect Carlos Mencia, who essentially became the poster boy for joke theft, but it also had a significant impact on Joe Rogan. Recently, on a podcast episode with James McCann, Rogan spoke about the incident and how it affected his career at the time. Now, to fully understand this story, it makes sense to start from the very beginning. So, in 2005, Joe Rogan wrote a post on his website publicly accusing Mencia of being a plagiarist, alleging that he had stolen jokes from several comedians. Then in 2007, Mencia confronted Rogan on stage at the Comedy Store after Rogan referred to him as Menstelia while introducing another comedian. The two got into an argument, with Rogan accusing Mencia of plagiarism and citing multiple examples, claims that Mencia denied.
No, he says that because he's like everybody else. They're jealous because
no one's jealous of you, you fat fuck!
Yes, you are! Yes, you are!
I'm jealous of anybody. It's not going to be a guy who steals material. I am inspired by other comics. When I saw Dave Chappelle perform here, I went home. I'm like, God damn, I want to write. That motherfucker was genius. It was brilliant. I see you and I go,
just because
you did another joke the other day. I saw you do a joke about licking a fucking asshole. It's like licking a battery. I saw a guy do it in Vegas. I go, well, that's where he got it from. The Reverend Bob Levy from the Howard Stern Show.
I've never even heard that fucking guy.
You like to riff your material and then come to points in time in your material where you don't have anything about the subject, so you take other people's shit.
You know what?
Over and over again.
I don't want to attack. That's not true.
You're a great performer who takes people's shit.
After this happened, there was noticeable turmoil through the comedy scene. People began picking sides. You were either Team Mencia or Team Rogan. Comedians aligned based on their own experiences and loyalties, and the split became widely discussed among industry insiders. At that time, it may sound surprising that anyone would side with Mencia, but you have to remember just how big he was in the mid-2000s. Carlos Mencia was a headlining act and starred on his own Comedy Central show, Mind of Mencia, which was at its peak popularity. On the contrary, Rogan wasn't yet as popular as he is today. He had not yet launched his podcast, nor commanded the same level of influence. In those days, he was better known for hosting shows like Fear Factor, and his stand-up career was solid but not dominant. Looking back now, it's easier to see how things eventually played out. Rogan was vindicated, his side of the argument won out in public perception, his influence continued to grow, and he went on to build the Joe Rogan Experience podcast into a dominant platform. In contrast, Mencia's show was cancelled in 2008, and he never regained the same level of prominence in the comedy world. Looking back on the incident now, it's easy to see that Rogan was indeed in the right and eventually came out on top, but back then it wasn't nearly as clear as it is today. Now, over the years, obviously Mencia spoke about this, but I think one of the best conversations about this incident was on Bobby Lee's podcast Tiger Belly.
So how are you feeling now with all this the controversy that had happened a decade ago? I mean, what's going on now?
14 years ago now.
14 years ago, yeah.
See, dude, back in those days, well, first of all, you know what, dude? Everything, it hit me when I watched that episode of the Comedy Store.
Yeah, the Showtime thing.
Yeah, it hit me because
you texted me.
I realized, like, my absence from the internet in all those years allowed a narrative to be created that will never change, no matter what I do, no matter what I say, no matter how I come about it, no matter what my perspective is. It just is the way it is. Like, there's nothing I could do about it. And that is a very difficult thing to do for somebody who is a control freak like me. Look, as you know, I'm always thinking about, if I do this, then that, then what are the ramifications of all this stuff? So my biggest regret is, back in those days, you know, when all this stuff happened, was to fight it. Not fight it, but to, like, I've recorded all my shows since 1993. I don't have to fight anybody on anything. If somebody comes up to me and says, hey, you're doing my joke, I could easily go, what joke is it? When did you tell it? let me go look, and then if you did it before me, I'll stop doing it or whatever it is. Like I've always had that.
Yeah.
But I stayed quiet, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now it's just like that's what it is. I mean, I guarantee you that when this airs, you go on to the comments, people are going to say, why'd you put that stealing piece of shit on, all this kind of stuff, whatever it is. And no matter what I say.
I forgot to mention this earlier, but I believe one of the key reasons this conversation was so significant and why Bobby Lee was the ideal person to interview Mencia is that Carlos Mencia played a pivotal role in launching Bobby Lee's stand-up comedy career. Early on, after performing at amateur nights in San Diego, Bobby was opening for both Pauly Shore and Carlos Mencia within a year, which helped him transition into becoming a regular at the Comedy Store. And because of their friendship and Bobby's insider perspective, his interview with Mencia wasn't just another podcast appearance. He was able to ask tough questions with context that another comic, especially someone who didn't know Mencia personally, simply wouldn't have.
Why not? But Ned, why not do in the beginning just a blanket apology?
But I wasn't. See, let me get this. Understand what happened. Anytime, even to this day, bro.
Yeah.
Somebody says you stole a joke. I go, okay. Well, what joke was it? Not angry. Like, what joke, dude? I write a lot. You know this. I fucking create a lot of material. A lot. You've seen me. You personally have seen me write 20 minutes of new shit on stage in one show.
I have seen that, but I have also seen some of your act, you know what I mean, a little too close to things that have already been established, like the Bill Cosby bit.
Yeah, I'd never seen that one. So
I know. My point though is that it's so similar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That why not just outwardly say I apologize, and then we could just move on from it rather than you constantly defending.
But it's not that I'm defending. See, again, it's not that I'm defending. Who do I apologize to? Right? So really quick.
Yeah.
I'm not, you and I hung out. We never watched comedy shows. There was no Netflix to watch it. It was nothing. And you never heard me talk about Bill Cosby. And my style of comedy is nothing like it. No, hold on. Let me tell you a story. So when we recorded that special, on the second recording, I did that bit. At the end of the show, Jeff Schimmel, Robert Schimmel's brother, came up to me and said, yo, that bit sounds very similar to a bit that whatchamacallit does. And I said, fuck, I'm tired of this shit. But you guys deal with it the way you need to deal with it. From the minute he told me that, I've never done that joke ever since. We can go through the archives of my performances. I could take you and you could pull out any performance. I never did that joke from the moment I was told that. But that will never be the narrative. Do you see what I'm saying?
Now, if you watch the entire podcast episode, it becomes painfully clear that Mencia is still in denial even after all these years. Even though Bobby and Kalila tried repeatedly to get him to see that he was in the wrong and that maybe an apology for stealing jokes might be a good idea, Mencia continued to defend his action, which makes it pretty clear that this guy is as delusional as they come. Now, like I said at the beginning, Mencia wasn't the only one who received backlash. Rogan also paid a price for calling him out. After the famous on-stage confrontation, Rogan was not only banned from performing at the Comedy Store, but he was also dropped by his talent agency at the time, which represented both him and Mencia. Rogan refused to apologize, and the agency chose to side with the bigger star at that time, which was Mencia.
He's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
He's one of the reasons why I went back to the store. When I was banned from the store for 7 years, Adam came
Got
to
7
visit.
years?
Yeah. Well, I banned myself for 7 years. They banned me. They were going to ban me for like a few weeks. I'm like, fuck you. Like, nay.
What did you do?
This is the whole Carlos Mencia thing.
They banned you for that?
Yes.
You won the court of public opinion on that.
Well, not only did I not really get banned, the guy who banned me was eventually fired. He was the manager there. But Mitzi gave me a spot that night. It's like before they called me to tell me I was banned. Mitzi was going through a lot of health problems, right? And, I was very close with her. So I called her when the whole Mencia thing happened, and I said, listen, this guy's been a problem. It's a real issue. People are worried about doing material in front of him. It's like, this is a giant problem. And, I told her the whole thing with the video, and she's like, all right, well, just keep away from them. What time do you want to go up tonight? And I said, when do you want me to go up? And she said, how about 10:30 or whatever it was? And I said, thank you. Okay, I love you. Bye. We said bye. And then fucking an hour, 2 hours later, I get a call from this manager telling me that I'm banned from the store for 2 weeks. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I go, for 2 weeks. I go, listen to me right now. I'm not coming back. I go, I'm not coming back. And you're making a decision that's going to fuck this club up because you're choosing to take the side of plagiarism.
Yes.
Over someone who's exposing it. Like, the agents won't expose it. They're making a shit ton of money. And if the Comedy Store's not going to side with the artists, I'm like, listen, this is the same conversation I had with my agent. I lost my agent, too, for that.
I feel like those are both important moments in a... Like, I'm shocked that everybody seems to have a problem with their agent fire them, but also the number of people who've been banned from comedy clubs.
Right, so I feel like this whole incident between Rogan and Mencia was actually a pretty important moment in the comedy scene, and I think the reason for that is because it kind of set a precedent. You can't steal jokes without facing consequences. Even though Rogan caught some heat for it back then, looking back, it was definitely the right move in the long run.